Because how excited are you to get out there against another team like Mississippi State and see what you guys are made of?
Yeah, we're about halfway through fall practice right now, so I think the guys are kind of chomping at the bit to see somebody else, face some other pitchers, the hitters to face some other pitchers to see a different lineup, a team in a different uniform in the other dugout. So, we've been to Pensacola. We were there last year. It was a great experience for the guys. Great crowd, Pensacola. A lot of Noble fans there. It'll be a big time for the guys. And Mississippi State's a great opponent. We're going to see a high-level baseball team and get a chance to see what we're made of.
Of the returning guys, is there anybody that you feel has taken a really significant step forward for you?
Yeah, I think we have a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, so far, we're 3 weeks into fall practice. So, Brady DeLamalure has really progressed a lot. Hunter Barnes has had a really good fall so far. Myles Bailey's had a really good fall from a position player standpoint. So, yeah, we feel really good about the returning guys and the guys that have some experience, that they're ready to continue to grow as a player and come out and have a better year this year.
Any of the new faces really jumped right into it and been heavily in the mix for you?
Yeah, and we have a couple, right? So John Stutz is a freshman who's had a really good fall so far for us. Kelvin Polino is a freshman who's had a really good fall. Braden Dowd, outfielder from USC, transfer from USC, was an all-conference player in the Pac-12 last year, or the Big Ten, I guess, last year. And has really been a productive player. Gabe Frazier, transfer from Arkansas, he's had a good first couple weeks of practice. So, we're really excited to kind of blend those guys together. And again, we go to Pensacola this weekend. We get a chance to put them all together on one field and see what it looks like, which is kind of the reason we do this, right? The reason we play these games is so we can, get these guys together in that environment and really build the next half of the fall after what we see on Saturday.
What about Eli? How's he looking?
Putnam's been really good. Yeah, experienced guy, right? Like he's 22, 23 years old. An older guy's played 4 years at Davidson, so very experienced. He brings that to the table. We've got some young guys that are, this will be their first time in this type of environment. Eli's seen it and done it before, so that's very valuable for us. He's a strong, physical kid and has shown in batting practice and some of his at bats out here that he's got the ability to leave the park and be a threat in the lineup. So yeah, he's been a good piece for us.
During fall ball, do you and Lane kind of think about how would a lineup construct, who complements who in the lineup, who do we have that fits this role, that role, things like that?
I think there's some thought of that, yes, but we also try to put these guys in as many different situations and different positions as we can to see what the best combination is, right? We've got 7 or 8 different infielders out there, and they're mixing positions every day. Some are playing second, short, third, mixing around every day so that, we see what the best combination looks like. And the same in the outfield. I think we have, the majority of the guys that are out there could play center field. We have, I think, elite athleticism in the outfield. So, giving those guys a chance to get the angles at all 3 different positions, see what it looks like, and we still got some time to figure that out. But in the back of your mind, you're always thinking of, what would it look like if this guy's leading off, or this guy's hitting third, or this guy's playing short, or how those things develop.
Being able to scrimmage against other teams in the fall, it's been a thing for a few years now. But as much as it's grown, and as big as that crowd was in Pensacola last year, I know they're expecting another one this year. Just how valuable is that to not just see what they look like against another team, but as close to a real game as you can possibly get with an atmosphere?
Well, I do think in the transfer portal age that we're in, your team is new every year, right? And that's just the way it is for everybody, I think. So putting them in this environment, you get to see who can perform when the lights come on, right? Like some of these guys have never played in front of 6,000 people. They've never played against, an SEC type opponent that we're going to see this weekend against those type of arms and in that environment. So, you get them used to that. But also, I think you see things that come out when the guys are in that situation that may not show up when we're inter-squatting out here on a Tuesday in front of scouts and a couple people just wondering by. The adrenaline gets going a little bit, the blood pressure goes up, and all of a sudden you got to go out and perform, and we get to see what they do under those conditions. So that's the biggest benefit, especially on the mound too. And Mike will talk about it, I'm sure, but getting those guys on the mound and being able to perform in that type of environment is huge for the program.
With Myles Bailey getting some looks at that outfielder, that's something that's going to be in display, or what is something that you want to see once when you get him on the outfield?
To be his size, Myles is a great athlete, right? So we just want to give him the opportunity to have as many options as he can. He's not I don't think anybody looks at Myles as a first base only type player. And where Miles' next step may be, he may be asked to play the outfield. So we want to give him some reps out there and get him comfortable. And it may be here as well. Like, again, we're evaluating every position and seeing what we have. So, I don't rule out Miles playing the outfield for sure, and that's something we'll look at and talk about. But we're giving him the chance to run around out there a little bit, show his athleticism. We have a lot of scouts at these scrimmages as well, so they get a chance to see him out there, which is good for Miles.
For BJ Gibson, the baseball only focus, how beneficial will that be for him?
BJ's a special talent, right? He's a special athlete. For him to decide to put football down and to get the back half of the fall under his belt, which he didn't do last year, I think he's kind of realized that baseball is where his future is going to be, which, we support that, and I know football did as well. It certainly is going to help him, right? Like, he needs the at-bats, he needs the reps. Walking out in January and trying to jump into this is extremely difficult. He performed very well last year in the limited reps that he got with the buildup that he had to get ready for. And so, given the extra couple months that he's going to have here to work with us, it can only help. And, he's got some work to do for sure, but that time is going to be extremely beneficial.
You've been around baseball recruiting a long time. How has it changed with the portal era?
Completely different.
This last offseason specifically for you guys, you
Yeah.
had so many pieces apart. What
Yeah.
was that rush to rebuild the roster like?
Well, I think your team now is 1 year at a time. It's just the nature of the beast, right? Like, the team is 1 year at a time, and you kind of have to build it that way, right? Like, we have some returning guys back. We knew who those guys were. I think the players here at Florida State, they appreciate what we're doing here. They enjoy being here. We had a lot of recruits in a week and a half ago and set some of our guys up. And the one thing they talked about in front of the recruits that were here was the environment of playing in front of our fans at Housing, and how great that crowd is, and how much fun it is to come out here and compete with them behind you. So I think we have a lot to offer, right? And you look at this team, we were able to go up and fill some holes with the transfer portal. We had a hole on the infield, we had a hole in the outfield, on the mound. We rebuilt the pitching staff on the mound. So, you just kind of evaluate as the season progresses and see where those holes are, and then you're able to go out and fill them from the transfer portal. I do think it always starts with the elite high school guys coming in as well. You want to have those guys that can come in and be in the program for 2 and 3 years, or 3 and 4 years. So you have to have a mix of those guys. But again, when you have those holes like we had, losing 11 guys in the draft, you can fill them pretty quick. And I think we did that. I think we were pretty good at doing that this year, and we brought in some really good pieces that are going to help us.
Was speed kind of a common desire as you're looking at transfers, or were there other common traits that you're looking for as far as identifying guys in the portal? Say, I want a guy like that.
Yeah, I think one of Coach Garrett's building blocks from a position player standpoint is the athleticism, right? The guys that can move around, not guys that are just one position only guys, the guys that have some versatility. So, when you look at Braden Dowd and Frazier and those guys from the portal, Eli from the portal, they can do multiple things, and that really helps, especially on the position player side. I think we learned if the goal is to win the national championship, which I think it is here at Florida State always, when you get out to that big field in Omaha, that outfield is massive, and you have to have athletes out there that can cover that ground. And so as we're building our team from that point to now, you're looking for guys that can play when you get on the biggest stage. And, I think we had a very athletic outfield last year. I think we'll have the same this year, and that's just part of what we're trying to do here.
What is it about Blink that makes him really well suited for this era where it's, year to year and everything is just kind of on its head?
The attention to detail with Link is unbelievable, right? Like, he sees things that I don't think anybody else sees out here on the field, and he's able to verbalize what he sees. The guys understand it, they respect it, they know he's watching, so you're always pushing yourself as a player to make sure you're doing things the right way. Because if you don't, it's going to be seen, and it's going to be, you're going to have to answer for it. And so, I think that discipline and that focus that he has every day out here at practice, it really pushes the guys. And I think in the portal era, guys, it's a 1 year at a time deal for those guys also. A lot of these guys that are coming in here, they came to Florida State not only for Florida State, that's a big piece of it, but also because they realize they may have 1 year and it's their draft year. They need to be good in this 1 year, right? So they want to perform at their highest level, so that at the end of the season, whenever the draft rolls around, they're ready for the next step also. And I think we've got a track record of developing those guys. And you see with Cam and with James and some of those guys that have moved on to pro ball, when they get there, they're ready for it.
Thanks, Ty.
Anything else? Thanks, Ty.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Returning guys, anybody taking a massive step forward for you or done something you really pushed them to do after last season concluded?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard when you start singling guys out. A lot of guys have made jumps. Top of my head, I think Peyton Mangos made a big jump. We wanted to see the breaking balls improve. Last outing, he was throwing sliders at 83, 85 miles an hour, getting a lot of strikeouts. So he was a K-ball started this summer. He's a guy that's made a big jump. John Abraham has, added some mass to his body. He stayed back and didn't play summer ball. We just wanted him to get more physical. He has definitely done that. He's up to 210, 215 right now. The velo has ticked up with that as well. So those two guys probably stick out the most. Marlowe has made some jumps. Wes Mendes looks a lot better. He looks a lot cleaner. He took up the summer as well to recover from the season, but also to kind of refine the delivery, do some things with that. And, watching the bullpen yesterday, he said 94, 95 in the bullpen, and the pitch makes a change up. He's got more consistent. So, as far as returns, those are guys stick off the top of my head, but a lot of guys have made good jumps.
What about Ben Barrett? I know he's had his ups and downs, but he seems to be kind of locked in, and it says velo's pretty high.
Ben Barrett, the velo has probably been ticked down from what we saw it last year, but the command has been better. He's tried to simplify his delivery last year, kind of got uphill with his torso and was kind of leaning back and trying to do too much. So he's kind of flattened that out a little bit. Right now, he's leading our team in finish percentage, which is swing and miss percentage with 2 strikes this fall. So the swing and miss stuff's still there. The strikes have gotten better, but we still like to see him take one more step as far as the command goes.
Coach, you mentioned about with Mendes and also even having when we spoke to him, you feel like that last year, the postseason really left the bad taste in his mouth of how he performed in Oregon State. Like, how much he was really just having to embrace that and having to improve on his game going to this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that season ended for him, he's a competitor, so I don't think that sat well with him. It definitely fueled him, and I think, moving forward, you can tell, like, he's kind of got something to prove, and, anytime your season ends like that, I think it sits on you for a while, and, we have to take it and move past it, but also try to use it in a way that we think it's going to help us move forward. And for Wes, I think he's matured through that. He's done some things that I think are going to help with that. But yeah, I mean, he's improved, and you can tell like he's got something to prove. He's got a little edge to him. So I feel like last year's game might have added to that for sure.
From a pitching coach's perspective, just how valuable is it to have them go up against guys that I haven't seen before? They don't have the daily scouting report. It feels like they're doing it in front of the crowd.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, hitters that don't know what you're going to throw with 2 strikes, don't know how you're going to tackle them, don't know what pitches you want to lean on. That's important. I think the most important part of this is going to see how guys respond to an environment, a crowd, to big moments. Mississippi State's going to be a really good team. We saw that here last year in the regional. So for us, it'll give us a chance to see some guys that maybe we haven't seen yet in a game setting and kind of evaluate what does this look like when things get ramped up with fans in a big environment.
The portal group, the newcomers, freshmen included, how have they performed for you on the mound? Has anybody maybe exceeded expectations on this?
Yeah, the portal group's been good. I think Trey Beard, you kind of knew what you were getting. The guy punched out, I think, 120 guys last year, so you kind of knew what you were getting a mature pitcher that throws a lot of strikes with a lot of different pitches, and he's been as advertised. Bryson Moore, I feel like, is a guy that is probably a little bit better than we thought he was going to be coming in. He's made a pretty loud statement in his outings. It's been pretty electric. Cole Stokes, the velo was up to 99 in the last outing. The slider's gotten good. He started a lot of strikes with the heaters, which is what we want to see. So, one name that's probably a little under radar right now is Cato Leary. He's had a real big fall for us. He's been one of the better performers up to 95. The breaking ball's been sharp. He's gotten a ton of swing and miss and change up and cutter. It's a really good pitch mix. He's a young pitcher, pretty much a redshirt freshman, didn't get a lot of innings last year. So he's a guy that has definitely exceeded expectations. And I know I'm missing some guys, but like right off the top of my head, like those are some guys that I can think of right off the top of my head.
What is it that Moore's doing that makes him just stand out to you?
There's 5 pitches for strikes, which is really unique. You don't get that in college baseball. You know, he's got a curveball, a slider, a changeup, a cutter, and a fastball. And on a grading scale, all 5 pitches grade out above average. And so you got not only 5 pitches, you got 5 above average pitches. And then the feel for the strikes, and he's a premium strike thrower. He's mature on and off the field, and he's pretty consistent. And the way he goes about his work, if he left here and go in the weight room right now, like he's in there right now getting ready for the practice today, and he's not even throwing a bullpen or anything. So, you know, for him, you know, there's some things that make him unique for sure.
During the fall, are you thinking about these are my starters, weekend guys, midweek guys, these are my long relievers, my one-in guys, situational guys, closer types? Or is it just go pitch and we'll figure it out?
No, yeah, it's just right now, it's just go pitch, and we're going to figure it out in the spring. You know, as a pitching coach, your mind kind of drifts to that. You know, you're trying to figure out which roles you can use guys in, and you're definitely thinking that. But right now, nobody's going to win and lose a weekend job this fall. That's going to be one when we come back in January. Right now, it's about making them a better pitcher. You know, how can we get better? How can we, you know, what are some areas we can grow in? And that's kind of what our focus is right now with the staff.
Do you feel good though that do you have a confidence in the group that you have guys for each and every one of those types of roles?
Yeah, we have a lot of experience on the staff. I did the math. I think we have 800 college innings, Division I college innings on the staff, and close to 400 Division I college appearances on the staff. So it's not going to lack for experience, in my opinion. This is going to be a very experienced older staff. And, we're excited about that in the ACC. If you want to have good bullpen, good depth, like you have to have experience. And if you look at what we added some guys with some big time Division I experience in every role, starters, relievers, closers. So we're excited about what the staff could be.
Did you do that intentionally?
Absolutely. I think for us, you know, we want to be able to start games well, and we want to be able to end games well. And last year, there's times where we had a hard time putting both together. So when we went into the portal, but like we were trying to figure out how can we start games well and how can we finish them well. And so that was the thought when we were adding the arms. So for sure, that was definitely how can we put together complete 9 innings, 3 days a weekend, and then midweek.
I know it's more kind of like tie and link, but defensively you lose Lodis and you know Farrell, what they gave you in the outfield. Do you have that level of athleticism and the defense?
Yeah. I mean, defense has been pretty good. There's a lot of depth. You know, there's going to be some fresh faces out there, but you know, I know Link's been working those guys pretty good, trying to get that thing where he likes it. You know, anytime you lose Lodis, I mean, it's a Gold Spikes finalist, like that's not easy to replace, but you know, there's a lot of able bodies out there, and there is a lot of athleticism. And I think this year's team has a chance to be more athletic than last year's team for sure.
Thinking about Saturday in particular, are you trying to get as many guys one inning as possible in front of that crowd, or do you have a strategy about it?
Yeah, it's hard because you know our guys are currently throwing 2 innings, and if you throw them to 1 inning, it kind of stunts their development in the fall. So probably our approach is going to be half the guys will throw 2 innings, and then the other half of the guys will throw 1 inning. That way we can get 10 arms in there and get a look. But we'll probably throw 4 or 5 guys 2 innings, and then the rest of them will probably throw 1 inning just to get some looks at some young guys that haven't done it before. Like, you know, Mendes is a guy that we know what he is. Johnny Abraham, like we know who those guys are. There's a chance they might not pitch this weekend, but they're going to throw Thursday, and they're just still getting their work in. But this weekend, it's about seeing some guys that we haven't seen before and trying to figure out what we got.
Anything else?
So what is the format this weekend? Is it 2
7s, but
7?
like per NCAA rules, it has to be 1 continuous game. So
Right.
we don't advertise it that way, but it's going to be 2 7s, like a 30-minute break.
Are you time limited?